Okay, I'm out here with Cookie. It's been about 7-8 weeks since I trimmed her. You can find the trim I did on her on Him Trim Clips 3. And her feet have just totally changed. This mare, she's a great research subject. You also find her on the video I did called The Hope and the Victory Over Laminitis. This mare, when I first met her, she had an inch-wide visible laminar wedge around all 4 hooves. This would be like, for those of you that have really gotten into the hoof and trimmed your hoof, when you trim it clean and you see that white line that's really yellow, that's that place where the sole and the wall join together. Well, this would be like having that line an inch wide around the whole perimeter of the hoof, clear into the heel. It thinned out a little bit in the heel, but an inch wide on all 4 feet. And last time I came, she hadn't been done in a while, and her toes had stretched forward, and you could see where she had stretching and blood once you got under the loose, flaky sole. And you could also see how it'd be very easy for this mare to develop the exact same thing again, and it would be totally mechanical on her. She's very strange. When her feet get big and stretch out forward, her sole stays in the same spot, but her lamina, which is that white line that's really yellow, will thicken and just keep getting thicker and thicker and thicker, to where, as I said, it looks like you have a white line that's really yellow that is an inch wide around the whole hoof. And now, I noticed something when I first came up today, and that is that the hoof on the left is more upright, and the heels are more upright, and let's put it down here. The heels are more upright, and the toe is shorter and more upright, whereas the hoof on the right, I'm talking about the hoof on the right, is more upright in the heel as to angle. Here. This hoof over here is more upright in the heel. The angles of the tubules are straighter. The toe seems shorter than this hoof. This hoof is more angled under with the heels, and the toe seems longer. In reality, both hooves are basically the same size, but there's something I want you to notice here. Now, horses have a habit, just like we do. We can be left-handed or right-handed. They have a habit of, when they graze or eat or anything, putting their heads down, of putting one particular foot forward more than the other. In this case, this mare puts her left foot forward and her right foot back. As a result, it changes the angle of each foot. Now, I think this knowledge could be used to tweak the trims on your horses. To tweak the trims on your horses. You see how she's standing there. This is also, I think, what tends to having some horses have what's called high-low syndrome, where you have a low foot that's really angled forward, and another one that's really high and steep. So, I don't know exactly how you'd tweak your trim on this yet, but I think if you had a horse that was prone to this, you could tweak your trim on each foot to offset this. See, now, if I didn't notice this, this could go on in this mare's feet until the heels on this left foot were very run forward, and we're very run forward, and the toe long, because see, the whole foot is connected together. Your toe and your heel, what affects one affects the other. So this mare could get to the point where this closest foot here, the heel was very run forward, and the toe was, the other foot could be very upright. Very upright. So anyway, I came today and I I looked at those feet and I went, what? How come that's going on? Because I trimmed them, I thought, both the same. In fact, I'm pretty sure I trimmed them the same. And so I kind of ho-hummed around here a while. I washed them off because I want to be able to teach some things about horn tubules. And then I was just watching her. And she put her head down to eat. She put that left foot forward and she kept the right foot back. And you can see, if you think about it, you can see in your mind the pressures, the different pressures that would place on the foot. With the right foot forward, the pressure, or gosh, I get my right hand and my left hand mixed up. With that left foot forward mostly, that puts most of the pressure on the heel, pushing the bottom of the foot forward. With the right foot back, it puts most of the pressure on the toe, pushing the toe up. But it doesn't, you know, push the heels forward as much. And you can see here in the growth pattern too, the lines in that other foot. I can't tell if I'm getting a good picture of that too, but if you look at the growth lines, you'll see how that toe is kind of shoved up and the heels are back. Okay, there's something about the horn tubules in your foot that you need to understand. Now this mare's foot is good to explain it on because she's got a pigmented, darkly pigmented foot, striped foot. And where you see the line of the pigmentation is where the horn tubule runs. Now, these horn tubules are all interconnected with what's called intertubular horn. What affects this part up here will affect this part back here and vice versa, because the whole thing is intertwined and weaved and connected together. Now, the part you see growing up here, okay, this is the part that winds up down here, right? Now, say on these horses that their heels have been left too long and their toe too long, eventually these horn tubules here, instead of being straight up and down and you having your heel underneath over here where it's under the foot, okay, they will slowly, the toe will start to stretch forward and it'll pull the heels with it, as well as the horse landing back here puts pressure here, pushing all these forward to where these tubules are pretty good on her. They go right down here at a good angle. That's about the angle the front of her toe should be here. But when you get the toe long or pulling forward, or you get just even a long heel, even if you have a short toe and you have a long heel, okay, and there's too much pressure here, slowly these will start bending forward to where, now this part of the wall that comes down here, that's right where it should be. But what happens is, this part of the wall starts moving, these horn tubules start bending, and it slowly starts moving forward, like this. To where this piece of wall here, that grows down to here, instead of it being right here, it will be forward like this. And will actually wind up right here. Okay, now, what happens for it to do that, it not only has to get bent, but what you'll find is this piece of wall will actually go longer. Okay? And so while on the one hand your heels are getting shorter structurally and mechanically, I hope I'm not in the way, your heels are getting shorter structurally because this is all bending forward and the foot is coming down. In reality, the wall that's connected to the heels is too long. It's slowly gotten longer, and the whole foot, the whole bottom of the foot has bent over this way and shoved this way. And so when you're trimming, you have to be able to read those horn tubules, because the object is you want a toe. Let's say her coffin bone in that foot comes, let's say right to here. Okay, that's her coffin bone in that foot, or the inner foot, let's say. Okay, And her toe, okay, you know, you could be a better, you could help out here. And let's say I want to bring her toe back. Well, I have to keep the leverage and the breakover back enough so that this wall will grow down tightly connected to the bone inside the hoof. Now, as it does that, these horn tubules that go like this will also start straightening up like that. As they do, they will naturally start pushing these horn tubules behind them back. But if your horn tubules have gotten very long here, and the hoof wall is long here and shoved forward, it's very hard for the toe tubules to push them back. Now that is why we have to manipulate our bevels down here so that as this wall is growing down, it has room to push these horn tubules back. Because if you don't bevel this part of the hoof right here, okay, then all these hardest tubules are on the ground here. And as these tubules are growing back down and attached and trying to push them back, they don't have anywhere to go because they're hitting the ground. That's why you want to bevel this area here pretty good. And sometimes it takes quite a while. You might have to grow this toe out 2 or 3 times to finally get it firmly connected because it's got stuff behind it that's shoving it forward. See, it's got this wall here that's grown forward this way that's preventing it from totally coming back, being connected clear to here, and then growing straight down from there and lifting up the bottom of the foot. So you see, this really is all about understanding the structure of these hooves and how these tubules, okay, horn tubules and intertubular horn and the whole thing's all connected together, how this part affects everything behind it and this part affects everything in front of it. Now, while it may seem complicated at first, I believe there'll come a day when we will easily understand what's going on here and how to manipulate all this so we can get this wall tightly connected to shove all the rest of this foot back. And if you have grown forward heels or crushed heels, whatever you want to call them, forward syndrome, blah, you can get these tubules to push that wall back and lift those heels up. Okay. Okay, so to map the foot to find out where the toe length is, using this measurement here, you want to find this little dimple in the back of the frog. That's at the end of the central sulcus right here. Then you want to find the middle of the foot. The way to do that, first of all, draw a line right along at the point of the apex of the frog. Okay, now in between that and right here, you're going to find the widest part of the foot, which is right here. Again, draw a line across the tip of the frog, the apex of the frog, right there. This is pretty down close to the true apex of the frog. It might be a little bit further back. Then draw a point here at your seat of the corn in the sole, and right in between that is the center of the foot. Now you want to do it 3 ways. Another way is to follow where the bar would end, and there's a little bump right here. It's right there. Okay? And the other way is to measure, find, let's see. Okay, dig out the apex of the frog. It'll be rounded right there. And then measure 1 inch back. That's exactly 1 inch back from the apex of the frog. Okay, now, here's the center of the foot. We know the coffin bone is right up in here. The rear of the foot is right here between this and this. That distance. That is half of what the foot is on the inside. Now take this and mark up from your line you made back here to the line in the center of the foot. Now my ruler is all marked up. Then we'll see where we're at right here. Okay, so I mark here, Man, I got a mess going here. I need a new ruler. From here to here. And then from here, my toe, this toe on this foot should be growing down. Now he's making another little line here for the wall to represent the wall. This toe should be ending in here. See? So when I shorten this foot today, I'm going to bring this toe back to about here, all the way around, so that my breakover is further back, so that the toe is not being pulled forward, so they can start growing down the wall and get connected. Okay. Okay, now what I'm going to show you right now is how I can take that toe off straight across. We're going to start like this. Just take off a little. Not real sharp nippers. I hope you're getting this. I angle it a little bit more there. Ho-ho, darling girl. Okay, you see how I've taken that off basically to my line? Hold on, I gotta let her rest. You're rocking on that other foot. Must be sore to stand on. Okay, give it here. Give it here. Give it here. Okay, now I want you to look at this. What I've done. Now that red you see there is from the toe stretching. Okay, it's just a little bit of red, not too much. But you see how I've taken that down so there's no more leverage on this toe. Now the coffin bone is, I'll tell you where, about right here. Not here. I'm just going to take a little bit more of that off. Okay, now, you can see how I took that off up to that line. Is that other foot sore? You're kind of rocking. Okay. Okay, now I want you to see it from the side. I don't want to take this. Wait a minute. See, you can't even hardly... See, I just took that leverage off that toe right there. Of course, then I'll rasp it and blend it all in, so that it's not pulling forward on the whole hoof. Okay, I'm going to exfoliate this sole right in here to the heel so I know how far to take my heel down into. You know, sometimes you got to dig in there till you get to live sole. See, I want you to see what I'm doing. Okay, and I want to clean up the bar area to where you haven't got any black in here. There we go. Now let me get this over here. Bring that up right there. You know, clean that bar area out. You've got to know where your heels are. Quick, stand up. Okay, I still haven't got this side exfoliated out. Yeah, rock, rock, rock. So there you see that I've exfoliated the seat of the corn here, so I know how far to take down my heels, which I will take down my heels to about 1/8 of an inch above that. I used to do it according to the periopal flaps and measure from here to here, but I made some new discoveries, okay? You want to take it down to the level of the sole, not quite the level of the sole, leave a little bit of heel. Okay, now I'm going to use my nippers just to not cut all the way down the sole, but just about. It's hard to say. Sometimes this is better to do it with a rasp. I can't see because I can't put it back once I cut it. Okay, might as well take a little bit of this off too while we're at it. Okay, now I'm gonna just rasp my heels down smooth and level. But I'm not going to rasp into the sole there. Just let your rasp take the bite. See how I'm not going that side, this side. Now I want this back to the base of my frog, the heels. This side's a little bit longer. And I'm going to level out the rest of the wall with the sole right there. I also want to rasp till I get a clean white line. Now you won't be able to do this on all horses, but she's got a tight enough wall I can do this without taking too much off. Except maybe right here. Okay, there we go. See what I got so far. Okay, now you want there to be a flat surface. You want to make sure that you get your rasp down in here and get a clean white line from here to here, if you can. Okay, without going into the sole, of course, but you can go in a little bit, but you want to try and get a white line, clean white line every time you trim. Now you can't always do that because you may have a very stretched white line, but once that starts coming together, when you trim the foot, you want to clean down to a relatively good clean white line if you can. Okay, and you want to make sure that this goes smoothly from here to here. You want a flat surface, just like if you had to put a shoe on it. Okay, basically what a barefoot trim is a modified farrier's trim. So if you'd learn to do a good pasture trim first and then modify it with Mustang roll and trimming the bars and understanding how to read the foot and map the foot to get your toe back. See, I want this wall to eventually grow to this mark I made here. Right now it's not doing that. It's coming out and like this. And the way to do that is to get any leverage from here to here off of it. So it's not pulling it forward. Okay, there my foot is done. You can see she has very, very, very thick hoof walls. Now, you want to get good at your beveling. This might not be the exact right trim for your horse, depending on what's going on with it. But see, right here is where my wall should be growing down to. And it's actually growing out to here. Right about out to here. Okay, this is where the sole should actually end, is right here. Okay, so it's still a little stretched forward. And but as you keep the toe and the leverage off of this, pulling out here, eventually it will grow down, connected, and then more straight down, containing the sole tubules more. Now, one of the reasons you want to bevel, I did not bevel the heels on this mare because all that would tend to do was give her a rolling platform that would push the heels forward more. Okay? Now this mare's nice because she's got a lot of thick sole filling up in here. And she's got some good, quote, concavity, even though the sole is not concave, because see, this ridge is what you call convex. Okay, now if she had the right foot, oh man, I mean dynamite feet would she have. Okay, if she didn't have the stretch forward toe here. All this would come back, there'd be thick sole in there. So we're gonna work at getting that done for her. Trying to think if there's anything else I should tell you. Nope, so I don't bevel the heels from here back. Right from here to here, but I will go to here because I want the horn tubules to have relief at the ground level so they can push back. Be pushed back by the toe wall coming down and pushing back this way. Okay, now I finished that off with a grinder. You want to be very particular about your bevels, folks. They mean it's more than just a Mustang roll. I cannot see diddly. It's more than just a Mustang roll you're doing here. You know, what you do and what you don't do depends on what this hoof, how you can manipulate this hoof to correct itself. And you need to know too that even though I say on some of my deals that it's a maintenance trim, well, it's a maintenance on a corrective trim. Because about every horse I do has one problem or the other. They might get straightened out for a while, then they go without trimming for a while, they develop another problem because the hoof is always growing. And so, you know, you have to learn these hooves and how to read them because a lot of times the problem can be developing and you don't even know it. Okay. Well, I guess go do the other 3 feet. Okay, now I'm looking at the foot here, and one reason I can know I did a relatively good job is because she's standing straight. She ain't pointing a foot, she ain't acting like it's sore, she's standing straight, the foot looks like it's pointing straight towards me. So, that's good. Okay, another thing, a toe like that, if it was my own personal horse, I'd be at a minimum making sure I kept that toe back every 2 weeks. Because anytime it grows out and starts getting leverage, you're just defeating your purpose. I'd keep that bevel renewed at a reasonable rate so that you weren't working against yourself. Now on the other foot, you aren't going to have to as much because it doesn't have the same problem and stuff. But a foot like that that's grown forward, you're going to have to keep the bevel renewed. You know, keep the horse comfortable. I mean, don't be butcher trimming to where your horse is... I mean, maybe your horse is sore all the time anyway. I don't know. But the sooner you get that toe to grow down, connected to the coffin bone, and then from there connect to the sole, and lift that foot up, grow down some more, and lift that foot up in front, the better off you're going to be. As long as you allow, and that's what the mapping does. The mapping shows you where your toe is. It shows you where you're at and where you need to eventually wind up. And you can't do it by eye. And that may be the reason why some of you are just having a losing battle, you know, with your foot, because you really don't know where the toe is at. You know, it can look like a good toe and like it's short and everything else, but it can actually be too long. And if that sole or that wall does not grow back, it won't push the sole tubules back into alignment, and so that they can grow at the straight up and down instead of being stretched forward, and thicken up some sole at your toe and get you that convex ridge of sole that turns into concavity as it goes to the frog. Okay, well, here's the finished product. I'm done with Cookie, and I got Sunny over there on deck. Now, as I said, I've done this mare for about 5 years. She had laminitis really bad. Her feet were pretty good, real good in fact, and then John sent her to the Amish to have them work with her, and she road foundered, which you can't see very good, but there's a horse out there. That's Prance. They shod him, and he come back with really bad road founder, which is a mechanical founder from them running them up and down the road, which they do all the time. How they keep a horse sound, probably well with shoes, and then they weld boreum onto the plates so they don't have to reuse the horseshoes. There we go. Now you can see I don't have any leverage on this toe by the wall at all. Actually, I don't have any leverage anywhere. There's a little bit of wall right here. I could take down a little more. You'll find that when you do this bevel and then you wait a while, you'll come back and your wall here will be thicker because the wall has actually relaxed and dropped down. So you have to renew the bevel to the white line. Here's her white line right here. This is still hoof wall right there. So I don't want to... This mare's hoof walls are almost 1/2 inch thick, and she gets real thick soles. So, okay. Are you ready, Sonny? He's got pretty good feet. They're getting better anyway. They were shod. And they got him about a year ago. Oh, come here. What's that? Give me your foot. Yep, you're ready for trim. Okay. Say hi, Sonny. Okay, so I want you to take a look at that foot in comparison to the other one. Right there. Let's see. Now, this horse had shoes on, and he was very flat-footed. He's got real small feet anyway, and pretty thin-walled, but he was a lot thinner-walled than he is now. And I want you to see something here. You know, just by bringing the toe back, you're going to get, everybody's looking for concavity and sole. Just by bringing the toe back, you're going to get concavity and sole. Can you see that concavity there? And see, I've rasped down some of his sole here. You know, he had none of that when I started with him, but just in mapping and bringing back that toe, See, what that does, that brings that wall in so that it can stand these sole tubules up so they'll grow straight up and down instead of being stretched forward at an angle. See, he's got quite a bit of concavity there, and he's just a little footed bugger. Okay. Okay. When you're done, if they can walk away and walk the next day, you haven't done too bad a job. Yeah. We'll let him out here. There's Prince, who I told you was road foundered by the Amish. Well, not doing too bad. Okay, come on. Now you get out. And, you know, and also trimming these horses' fingernails is kind of like, toenails is kind of like trimming your fingernails. You know, takes them a day or two to get used to the feeling. Hey, go on, walk around. I did Prince yesterday, and he's still walking good, even for being road foundered. Alright, I'm happy. Sure would like to have one of them things. It's about $600 right there to cover your hay over. Not doing too bad. There's an appreciative look. Thank you for trimming my toenails. Goodbye.